Gooch, and I'm so happy you're all here today. It's just such a joy and honor to be here. And today I have a dear, dear friend, and this woman I met over 10 years ago. And I just sent out a list to everyone that she is just like the epitome of health. This woman, I don't even know how old she is, but she's just amazing and just living from her intuition, really living in that healthy, vibrant state of being. And what we were just talking about before we went live is just the importance, especially now, of us being so healthy, so connected to our intuitions, and just being this radiant health. So, we're going to give you some tips and just fun ways to stay really connected, really tuned in to your intuition, to your body, which is really like the vessel of your beautiful spirit soul. And just your way of being in the world can be amplified when you really take care of you. So, Sky, Jeanette, welcome to Intuitive You. We're so happy you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Mm.
Absolutely. Just looking at you, talk about radiance. It's gorgeous to behold.
You're so sweet. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, my love. So, we are actually both in San Diego, and Sky was telling me, how she was guided to actually be here as well from her intuition many, many years ago. So, I would love for you to share how your intuition got you here and just that journey.
Yes. Well, it's absolutely probably, well, I can think of two most powerful instances of intuition for me. At the time, I was in Rhode Island, long way away, and working at a historic house and gardens, which I love because I love gardens. I've always somehow put myself close to nature. And but it had run its course, and I knew I needed to make a change. I was about 43, and the little town where I was in was lovely, but I knew I need to make a change. And I just got this absolutely persistent intuition, this inner voice saying that I needed to move. And I really sat with it for a while, but where, and finally became California and Southern California and San Diego to be specific. And I didn't know what I would be doing there. I didn't know. All I knew was I had secured a little room in a house, with some other folks because I had some savings. But I remember sitting there in February and, of course, having come from Rhode Island, which would be the middle of winter, and looking out, and it was pretty shabby area, to tell you the truth. And I said, no matter what, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here. And there is such a strength in honoring that knowing. And as you and I were chatting before, it doesn't mean that it's always easy or that you know right away what's unfolding because we're only seeing a part of it. It's like looking through a keyhole at first. And we've got to be brave enough and trusting enough and practical. I took some jobs, some odd jobs while I was trying to figure out what my big mission would be in California. But I didn't. I was determined not to compromise that. I wasn't going to just do a full-time job, which would take all my time and energy when I knew there was something waiting for me. So it was probably I would say it was bold, but the other part of me said there was such certainty. There was such certainty in that intuition that I couldn't look back.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And just to point out, everybody listening, like, is there a place right now in your life that you feel like you're at a plateau, right? Like, it's kind of like, I know that there's something more. And if I stay here, I'm just going to feel stagnant. And I know I felt that way just a couple months ago, right? It's like there's a next level here and it takes courage, right? And if you can drop into that certainty, like you said, there's this place of knowing, and that next step, that keyhole's there and you have the key. So you just have to have the courage to put the key in that door and walk through it and just a crack maybe, and then open it a little bit more. And it's like, we have that knowing. And we were talking again before the show,
Yeah.
Sky. I was telling you, I was walking down the street outside my house and I was just talking to one of my best friends on the phone, and there's literally like this peace garden outside somebody's house, and it has pictures of like Gandhi, Mother Teresa. There's like 78 rocks from all over the world, and there's
Wow.
just like this beautiful energy, right? So I'm like taking a picture. Alyssa's on the other line and I'm thinking, oh, shoot, I just took a picture without asking. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, right? So I turn around and this woman is just like sitting there like, hello. And I'm like, oh, hello. Like, like thinking I did something wrong. And she's like, all are welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Um, I don't want anything from anybody. And as I'm telling you this, I'm like, I feel like this is the universe holding us. Like if we could all hear the universe saying, I'm so happy you're here. You're so where you need to be right now. And she proceeded to say, to your point, you're exactly where you need to be. You are supposed to be here and you're on a huge mission. And I hardly like said anything to her, right? She's like channeling all this stuff for me, like, you're so compassionate, all these things. And I'm like, whoa, okay, we are all interconnected. And each step we take is so precious, right? So are we paying attention to that next step? And do we have the courage and faith to walk through that door that we know our soul is calling us to? And there's a mission for us all to fulfill. So I just love that you're a living example of following that, right? And being yet another person that is saying yes, yes to their purpose.
Absolutely. I felt, you talk about stagnant. I literally felt when I was sitting in my office in my previous job, I said, my soul is going to die here if I don't make a change. That's what
Totally.
I'm saying. I don't know if it was bold or not. It was, this has to happen, or I'm just going to shrivel up and die. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people do, don't die. But yeah, just diminishes like a plant without any nourishment or water just
Mhm.
starts to like, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm super glad I followed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I think the question to ask ourselves is like, what makes your soul come alive? Because I felt like that too, right? I felt like my soul was dying, but there's still life available. So if you're feeling stagnant, it's like, what makes you feel alive? I know another one of my good friends said that. He's like, hey, what makes you feel alive? Like he actually called me Pocahontas. He's like, keep going, Abby, just keep going, Pocahontas, keep driving down that road. It's like, what makes you feel alive? What makes you feel alive? And do it. It is life giving, it's nurturing, it's nourishing. And what makes you feel alive because it makes you feel good.
That's right, and joyful, and time stops. I mean, I'm gonna fast forward for a second. I think I shared this with you, and I know we want to talk about health and share some tips and all that. But so, yes, for my age, I think I told you I turned 70. I'll actually be 71 coming up here in a couple of months. And at age, well, it was last summer. I mean, I was 69, summer before last. And my intuition got so strong that I needed to return to being around horses. And this was something that as a child, and I'm a great believer that what you loved as a child, what you were drawn to, whether it was art, whether it was gardens, whether it was singing, whatever, business, a small child out there with a lemonade stand, that is, I feel, as that is our intuition is so strong and is really telling us that that's our blueprint, and it might look like different things in our life. And so for me, it was horses. And I had the opportunity to ride for many, many years. But, then life, I went away to college and doing other things. And then I got older and older. And even though I really take good care of myself, yoga, Pilates, walking, all kinds of things, I just said, no, this would be ridiculous to start riding again at age 69. But my intuition was so strong that it literally got me in the car and went driving around in the area where we live, where fortunately there's a lot of accessibility to riding. Took me to the right place. I said, are there any adult classes? And yes, there's one 9 o'clock Friday mornings. And I went, oh my God, I've got to do it. And getting back to that doesn't always mean it's easy, it's not scary. I mean, literally, I remember calling my husband after just to say, hi, I'm here, like I'm alive. And it has just continued ever since. Now I ride twice a week and I'm really making advances. But I work for it too. That getting back to health. There's no way I could be doing this if I hadn't been a good steward of my health.
Mhm.
So that was just my most recent big example. And talk about the joy and the aliveness that I feel.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm so grateful, and I just encourage anybody, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be some big physical act. Like I say, it could be spending more time reading or time with, um, in a volunteer position, or it could be writing, whatever it is. That's how I see, like just what you're saying, what brings you joy, and where time stops. I mean, when I'm
Yeah.
out there with the horses, uh, nothing exists for me really outside of that world and that
Yeah.
time for about 3 hours when I'm over there.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, the one thing I love about intuition is it's it makes it possible. So if your intuition is guiding you to ride horses or to do something that people think maybe you can't do, or you may
Right.
think your body can't do, like you said, you were
Mhm.
69 when you started writing or took back to writing. And I'm thinking when I started my practice, people were like, I had some professionals being like, well, just go back to school. And I was like, no, I left my scholarship to purposely start it. I'm good. In other words, they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, my intuition says yes, go. Right. And I started, right. And I had this practice. So for anybody who's thinking, oh, thinking, not knowing, thinking, maybe I can't. Somebody said I couldn't. My body is whatever you're saying about your body. I invite you to tap into the truth of that certainty, that knowing of your intuition, and be like Sky. The other thing I love about Sky is her name is like, ever since I met her, it was like Sky, like infinite, right? Like this energy of infinity. And so, like, think about your intuition and the connection to infinity through you. Like at 69, she's riding horses. Like, thank goodness. Well, I won't even say that. She didn't ask any other doctor. She didn't ask any other person. She asked herself. She asked her own body and her intuition, hey, what do you want to do? And that's that trust, right? That's the following of your inner joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, it's there. Once you've made that commitment, whatever it is, someone says, well, I'm ready to write that book. Well, you may need to get lessons or learn more about writing. Like for
Mhm.
me, when I started this writing again, one of the teachers there, who's my age, she says, you have to get into Pilates, you know, tomorrow, because there's a lot, that probably are some horse people out there, they're everywhere. And you have to have a lot of core strength, things that I didn't think about when I was 10, 11, 12, riding horses. But when
Yeah.
you do this, later, you really have to pay attention. So sure enough, I signed up for Pilates and I keep doing that, and yoga. And so that's what I'm saying. That's my experience. It's tuition, and then you've got to do the necessary. You need to do the practice. It doesn't mean that magically you can do something. You still are going to, and well, it depends what it is. I mean, if a person has a lot of background, that's fine. But if it's a new skill or a skill you want to sharpen, then you may need some support and work at it. That's what I found.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think the key piece is taking action, right? So you have this intuitive feeling.
Yeah,
Awesome. You took action. You went
yeah,
to the horse, went to the stable, wherever it was, right? You took the action to make that real,
exactly,
to make your
exactly,
dream a reality.
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Um,
So I want to take a minute just to focus on the health piece, right? So we've really
yeah,
focused a lot on intuition, which is amazing, and coupled with our body and the way we can support our intuition through our
yeah,
physical body. My mom and really even my dad now are one of my like best teachers for this. They've always been since I was a kid, like, your health is so important. Are you eating? Like, are you sleeping enough? Like, just really on it. And I'm so grateful to them because I'm the type of person that I can just go and go and go and kind of forget about that stuff until I can't.
yeah.
So just to kind of,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
what are the ways that, you can really, nurture your body and eat well and sleep well. And I know you have some ways, Sky, that you do that and really have that as a practice. So
Right.
I would love for you to share some like tips and insights for people to tune into their health, have some really awesome daily practices and
Yes,
ways to elevate, right, their health.
absolutely. Well, you really hit on some key words. I mean, one is it's daily and it's a practice. This is the care and feeding of your body. The manual, which I wish we got, uh, that it exists, but it's really like you were fortunate that you had parents that really made that a priority. Not everybody does, and or they just don't necessarily have the education. And that's why I do what I do because my mom, just say, I start on this whole health path because my mom died of cancer. And as she was dying, I mean, she struggled so hard. And we began to get some education because I was trying to help her about the tremendous importance of nutrition. It's not one simple thing, it's a combination of things that helps support our health. But nutrition is so key. And it was really in that moment, that was intuition again, uh, in these conversations and seeing her struggles and her asking me, well, why didn't we know more about the importance of fruits and veggies that they could really, really make a difference? And I said, I don't know, Mom, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life sharing what I know. And what I've learned now over these past, 23 years is that taking self care, even though in some circles, so I think we're getting past this, and I'm hoping in this circle of people realize it's nothing to do with being selfish. And the greatest gift that we can give to the people who love us is taking care of ourselves because they want us to be around, they want us to be thriving, they want us at birthday parties and weddings and all kinds of things. They don't want that empty seat. They want people to be there. So a daily practice, the beauty of it is that this is it's not it's not a mystery, what we're supposed to be doing. We hear this all the time, but between the knowing and the doing is where we need support. And your body, you think of a little baby, I mean, or we were saying before, even a little pet, your little doggy, for example, they need to be get good nutrition, good food, they need exercise, they need rest, they need playtime, right? I mean, I need emotional connection. These things are so important. And so for me, it's become, I think, first of all, it's a privilege. It's actually a privilege to grow older. I mean, a lot of people complain, oh, I'm getting old. Well, yeah, but it's a privilege. And it's also a it's a lot of fun when you're have taken care of your health.
Hmm.
It doesn't old age or older age, it's not an illness. Uh, we fall ill because we haven't necessarily done some really good things for our body. So for me, what that looks like is definitely paying attention to what foods I put in my body. And I'm not the food police. I think people need to have fun and enjoy life, have their glass of wine if that's what they like, have that special splurge. But 80% of the time, to be putting lots of plant food in their body. And whatever there's so many different theories out there, whether somebody's doing keto or whether somebody's doing paleo or doing this. Our body is designed, the blueprint of our body is designed to have a rich supply of plant nutrition every day. And again, I'm not saying whether to be a vegetarian or not a vegetarian, but this is, if we do, I will say though, I think if we do, and I'm not a vegetarian, I was for many years. If I have animal protein, fish protein, have a small amount of that, but just because the plants are given to us to help cleanse the body and to help build the body. I mean, I would go on a whole health talk, but It's those micronutrients in the body. A lot of people think of your fats, your protein, and your carbs. Those are your macronutrients. You think of those like the gas in your car. The micronutrients are like your oil, and that's what keeps things running smoothly. And you think of fruits and vegetables, you think of all the colors. That's not a random thing that we have red tomatoes and oranges and all that. All those represent thousands of different phytonutrients that are helping your body to run. So I would say number one is 80% plant food in your body. And if you're not, you said it was okay to mention, I think, if you're not, if you're looking for a way, like most of us do, to bridge the gap, because the recommended amount is 7 to 13 servings. The servings about a fist size for your body of fruits and veggies every day of a wide variety. And science has shown us that more matters and variety matters. You may want to take a look at what I've been doing now for 23 years, which is concentrated fruits and veggies, those micronutrients that I was talking about to bridge the gap. And that's called Juice Plus. And I know there'll be a Q&A or whatever follow-up. If you want to know more, let me know. So first and foremost, it's that. I think everybody hears how important it is to be drinking lots and lots of water, half your body, there you go, half your body weight in ounces every day. Do I hit that I don't hit that every day, but I work at it. I'm conscious of it. And the simple way is to say it. You've probably heard that before, is to look at your pee. And if if it's clear, then you have plenty of water. If it starts getting cloudy, you need to be drinking more water. And sleep. Oh, I was just reading an article about that again the other day. It is so important. And it's harder and harder these days, I think, and I'm guilty of it too, sometimes with my phone. We get like overstimulated, and to let your body rest and rejuvenate at night, so that you can, it does, I think of when I go to sleep, like, you remember, you may be too young for that, but do you remember the Keebler elves? I know there was a commercial about that they would come out at night and make the little cookies and stuff. I think of these like little elves. I mean, literally, there are over 30 trillion cells in your body, and they all need, they're different kinds of cells, but they all need sustenance, and they need oxygen. They need waste removal. It's like this huge neighborhood. We've got this tremendous neighborhood of cells, this city, this universe of cells in our body. And each one matters. Each has their jobs to do. The white blood cells, the red blood cells, they're all doing something. And we were saying before, in this time of a pandemic, we're living in a pandemic. Let's not mince words. And yes, one day there'll be a vaccine, but even still, the number one thing that you can do and that your body is asking you to do, remember I was saying before, your body wants to be your best friend, and your body can be your best friend, but you got to be a friend to your body. And your body desperately, I mean, if you cut yourself, right, the body starts to heal. The body is always trying to do the right thing for you. But if we're not giving it the right raw materials, giving it a chance to rest and rejuvenate, to the other point 3, exercise, whatever that is, moving the body, because that literally helps support the immune system, your body. I mean, moving your body. There's nothing that is going to help you more than a well-functioning immune system. So it's, as I said, lots of plant nutrition, getting rest, moving the body, obviously taking time to center. You're talking about to listen to that intuition. What does my body need today? And we so often, and I've done this time and time again. Believe me, I'm not perfect at this, but I'm going in the right direction. When your body says you need to rest, then rest. I so honor when people say to me, we're scheduling an appointment or something, say, I'm overwhelmed. I've overbooked myself. Let's postpone for a week or whatever. And I said, I completely honor that. And it can be so hard because we think FOMO, right? That I'm going to miss out on something, if I'm not there. And your body is saying, remember, think of that little doggy or whatever it is. Your body is saying, no, no, we need to rest. And then, of course, the other key is having uh, good, healthy emotional support with people that lift you up. You were saying before is that about when you have joy, when you're doing your intuition is vibrating and you're really feeling this is right for me. It's the same with people, right? To be around those people that like that's. I remember when I met you. I would walk away just feeling high. It's like you bring life force, right? I mean, you bring such life force and positive energy. And that's why, I've always wanted to stay in touch with you because you literally bring that. And I'm not saying, people who don't, it's everybody's on a different path and a different journey. You've just put together a lot of things in your life, that work that allow you to radiate and just you're like this, you're a lighthouse that just beams out there, and that brings so much comfort and hope to other people because we all, like I say, we're all on our journey. So this to sort of put a bow around it, I mean, really, if we are doing those basic fundamentals, you can probably read that in your news feed every day about basic things to take care of our health. We need to do them. And the other thing is, I always start my day with ritual, with some meditation. I do yoga, I affirmations, and that sets the tone for the day to be open to my intuition. I hope
Mhm.
that's helped, but that's what I do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome. I was just
yeah,
going to say, like, what do you do to mentally prepare? And that's it, right? The affirmations, like chanting or meditation, whatever it is, to like bring your mind in alignment with your intuition, your emotions balanced and calm. And I
absolutely.
love what you said about relationships and people, to support us and lift us up. And
Yeah,
that's one of the things I love about Oneness Talk Radio is it's like this group of people just on this vibration of love and expansion.
yeah,
Um, and I know you have that in your communities too. So it's like as we all band our communities together, we
yeah,
grow, right? We grow that life force.
absolutely.
So yeah, and I guess the other thought comes in like, if something gets off, like we don't sleep enough or something, it's like how do we move back into balance and what's a way to be super gentle, with ourselves and others to keep on that track.
Yeah. Well, I think you said the right word. We've got to be gentle.
Yeah.
And if we find ourselves that we've gone off track, number one, not to beat ourselves up and just to gently acknowledge, wow, I pushed too hard and I've got to I'm going to regroup here. And
Mhm.
as Brene Brown said at the time, it's not about, it's the gifts of imperfection, right? And your body, all these cells, that's what really gets me is that our cells are listening to us. You hear this over and over again. And more people are saying that. They really are listening.
Yeah.
And so to say, oh man, that was a dumb thing to do, or why did I do that? Or why did I, lose my temper or something like that? Okay, I did. I acknowledge it. But now I'm going to take some breathing. Of course, I'm going to take some deep breaths and I'm going to find my way back. And of course, the more we practice that, the more quickly we can come back to center. When I used to get, you know, it's just typical. I know everybody feels this way. Just something negative happens. Like Brene Brown said the other day, we might have the 20 wonderful things people say, but it's that one negative thing that we just, grind on, right? And so they were asking, well, why is that? It's just because somehow inside we're feeling we're not good enough and we're looking for evidence that we're not good enough. And so that one negative, oh my gosh, that way outweighs all those positives. And so one of the things I do now whatever it is, if I don't do as well on my ride that day, instead of going, oh man, I'm too old, I'm blah 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 blah, just say, I'm giving it my best shot, and I am good enough. I am good enough. I mean, I think we could say that, every minute of the day. I am good enough.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. I love that. It's so
Yeah,
simple
yeah,
and life affirming, you know? Like a remembrance of the truth.
exactly, exactly. So
Mhm. Hmm. Yeah, it's just a vibration of our wholeness, that like our body, mind, and spirit are meant to work together,
yes,
right? And so the other thing I'm wondering is, if something does feel off, like to affirm something like I am good enough to bring it back into alignment, right? Because I feel like, yeah, just that's all I want to say about that is it's like how do we move back into that place of the truth and our centeredness, and then to recalibrate, you know. Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's I think that's the most important thing because, well, I mean, it's so corny, but it's so true. Life is such a gift, and
Mm,
as you talk about, we are here for a purpose.
yeah.
And I did another reason I'm so passionate about my healthy living mission, Inspire Healthy Living, is that I think it's impossible to live to our full potential, to
Mhm.
what our intuition, spirit is really guiding us to do if we are not well in our body, if we're just fighting to survive or just struggling through the day.
Mhm.
We really are built to thrive.
Mhm.
We just, again, have to give ourselves or do those fundamentals to help our bodies be as brilliant as they want to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and almost like your body is an extension of your intuition. So if you are feeling like dis-ease in the sense that something is off, what is your body telling you? Like you talked about your cells communicating. There's this woman, I think her name's Marsha Reynolds. I need to interview her too. And she talked about, I believe the research is there's 500 million cells in your gut alone. And intuition is very much gut guidance. So, listening to ourselves and our bodies saying, something's off here. If I feel dis-ease, like disharmony,
Right.
what do I need to do to bring my body back into that? Right. So into the place of harmony. So like I know when I was going through that, growth period of like, stagnation to the next step, my body was like telling me, you can't be here anymore. Like it was like my soul is dying here and my body was telling me that. Like it was hard to eat. Like I was crunched, like I had a
Yeah.
stomach ache. I was nauseous a lot of the time. And so even now, if something's off, I'll get nauseous. It's like, oh, that's not in alignment. So can you listen to where your body is saying, hey, something's off here. What are you telling me, body? Thank you for being my best friend. And thank you for this message. I'm going to honor it, take action on it to move in alignment with what does feel good. And lo and behold, I feel good. Like, I have all this energy, right? I have radiant health, whatever. So you're in that place of, like you said, you're naturally meant to thrive. Absolutely.
Right. Right. And yeah, and when we feel, I mean, I can speak for other people, but I can feel it now when an old energy comes in my body, driven by some old thoughts. So, like I say, get into a negative place, which doesn't happen that much, but let's be real. I mean, there are ups and downs sometimes. But and I never did this before. I can actually tell myself, this is an old energy. This is not true for me. Or it's certainly not true. It never was true, but I used to believe it. I'm not good enough or whatever. Um, I can't or I couldn't do something. And I'm just saying this is gonna pass. This is an old energy. It's almost like I'd say it's like eating something and it goes through your emotional system instead of your digestive system, and you're going to eliminate it. And I have more patience with that. And I said, it might take 24, might take a half hour, it might take 24 hours, but I'm going to now, give myself the rest and the affirmations, go for a walk, change it up. And this is going to now flow out of my body instead of it sitting in there.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
just such perfect timing that you're on the show right now because I literally had that last weekend. And I called my mom. I was like, hey, my body is cleansing. Like I can tell it's physically releasing old energy and I'm putting good in. So I would like go for the beach walk, clear it out. And then I would just honestly last night ate like a salad. Like I was like, I have to eat this, even though I don't necessarily want it. It's like I had to have those greens and it did. It cleansed me, but it was literally this physical and energetic and emotional cleanse for those 2 days. And I told her, I'm like, it's moving out. I can feel it. And I'm just nurturing it. I'm being gentle. I'm relaxing. And that energy is passing. I actually had that thought when I was in the water like, this is old energy passing. I'm here now. I'm present. I'm feeding my body these plant based
Yeah.
foods. And it's healing, it's recalibrating. So for everybody listening, it's like, okay, like, can I give my body, my mind, my spirit, my emotions the space to heal, to recalibrate, to nurture it?
Right.
And if I do feel these old energies of trauma, of past thoughts, of whatever coming up, I'm going to put the good in. I'm going to put the positive thought in. I'm going to surround myself with loving people. I'm going to eat really good and sleep really good and drink water.
Yeah, exactly. So just, yeah, exactly. You said it beautifully. I mean, that's sort of the formula for getting better. And what I like is that there is a sort of a formula. There are things you can do, and we don't have to feel helpless. Like, how do I get out of this? And yes, sometimes people we might need to external coaching, encouragement, whatever, because we can't always do these things ourselves. But there are things that we can do, and keeping that positive attitude as much as we can. As I said, it does affect, I go back to the immune system too. It's incredibly important for our immune system because we can do all kinds of wonderful things physically, eat well, exercise. But if that old energy stays, that's very stressful on the immune system. I think we've all been there. We've seen that. We get bad news, it spirals down. So that's another thing too. I'm not shy about what kind of support do I need. Can I go do self-talk and self-care to get through this? Or do I need, my church community or whatever it is? Do I need to do something that's going to help me get through, get back in balance again? So I think that's one of the biggest things is not to isolate oneself. That's really where I've done that too, where we really just keep sinking low and lower and be brave. That's another thing. You can tell I'm a fan of Brene Brown. Um, be brave enough to be vulnerable and say, to someone who loves and supports you unconditionally, and just say, look, I just need to talk a little bit, or I just need to take a walk with you, or I need a hug. If we're fortunate to have a hug partner in life at this point, this crazy time, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there, I'm guessing maybe on their own or not have that. And so let's acknowledge that that's tough. That can be tough. So we have to find ways to find some sort of a comfort as we find our way back.
Yeah, I love that. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, did you want to introduce anything about Juice Plus as far as how people can contact you if that's something they're feeling called to do to support themselves?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Um, yes, as I say, I partner with a company that's now, well, for the past 25 years, has brought several healthy living solutions. And the premier one, the biggest one, are these concentrated plant powders that have been tested beyond what anybody has ever done. And I'm a great fan, and I've shared them with thousands of people. So I can be contacted. My phone number, yeah, happy to give you can call or
Anything
text.
about love.
Yeah, you can call or text at 858-922-0452. 858-922-0452. My email is Sky, SKY, 4, number 4, health at sbcglobal.net, sbcglobal.net. And I'm, I always find it's great to ask, to have a conversation. It can be done by texting or Zoom or phone, see what a person's looking for. Um, and, I think universally we all can have a benefit by more fruits and veggies, as I was saying before. We also have, you can see the side, you can see the little poster behind me. During this pandemic, especially, there's been this huge surge since so many people are home in an interest in gardening. I've been a gardener since my mid 20s.
Mm.
Intuition once again took me into loving to garden, and a dirt gardener for many, many years, and grown everything just about you can imagine, from fruit trees to your summer veggies, winter veggies. And then our company, the Juice Plus company, about almost 10 years ago, introduced this vertical aeroponic growing system. And it grows without soil and very little space. Doesn't take any strength or previous skill or tools, but it's an amazing way of growing your own food. And so my husband and I were among the first in the country, certainly in California, to be growing in these. And we have 3 of them, and absolutely love every day being able to go out and get my fresh produce. And bring it always back to intuition. I think growing your own food enlivens your intuition so much, because this is really, this brings us back to who we are as people. And instead of having all those layers of, food coming in plastic containers or from far away, literally have it at your fingertips. And of course, it's good for the planet because it uses 98% less water. The food grows really quickly. Here in California, we can grow outside year round, but in the North Country, as I call it, we have a version you can grow under lights. So that really added to our mission, and I'm just thrilled. We have them in schools and in home gardens, and it's just all about simple solutions to make it easier to do those kind and wonderful things for our body that just brings to life our intuition.
Mhm.
Because that was one other thing I was going to say, is that unfortunately in our country, there are a lot of foods and foods especially that we put in our body that actually undermine our intuition and our natural taste buds. We're not born with a natural taste for artificial sugars and artificial flavors. We're the body wants plant food. It doesn't really want that piece of chocolate cake that we might eat because we get stressed, or other more artificial things we put in our body. And what I love is that the more plant, and Juice Plus really helps with this, is that the more plant food you put in your body, the more that intuition and those taste buds awaken again. And we make those healthier choices. Instead of it being a have to, it's a want to. And I
Mhm.
love that. And the same with growing your own food, and especially anybody out there who has children. Uh, when the kids get into growing their own food, they have an ownership and they have an excitement about it. And they actually, oh, this is where lettuce comes from, or oh, these are where tomatoes come from.
Yeah.
So that's our inspiring healthy living.
Love it. I love it. I remember when I first visited you all those years ago, you had one of those in your backyard. I was like, those are so cool. They're
Yeah,
super fun.
yeah.
And like makes me think of the orphanage. So I don't know how much I've told you, but we have a nonprofit initiative with kids in Ecuador. So our goal is to build an orphanage there, and actually have a self-sustaining wellness center that's connected to
Oh,
it.
nice, nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. So this October, I just want to let everybody know we have an initiative, that we are sending them funds. So we have a class that Alyssa and I are running, around this, and you can go to https colon // the universal language of love.com /love dash your life backslash. And so I just put it in the chat. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Hopefully you can. Again, it's https:// the universal language of love.com /love dash your life dash life backslash. And so what we're doing is the 50% of those proceeds are going directly to that orphanage, right? To help them get the basic supplies, the basic needs, food, things like that, right? So, anybody that wants to donate, I even thought those tower gardens, that would be really cool there to start self-sustaining, just getting kids what they need.
Right.
And I just believe, children are, just like we are, just huge lights in the world. If we can give them the nourishment and the support they need to keep their intuitions alive so they can fulfill their purposes. So just super grateful to Oneness Talk Radio also for connecting us with them. And
Yeah.
if any of you guys are interested, you can also go directly to www.oneheartglobal.co. So, all right, it is 9:45. So the phone lines are going to be open. So you can call 858-692-4555. Again, that's 858-692-4555. If you have any questions for Sky or I for the next 15 minutes, I love saying that, Sky or I, you can go ahead and give us a
Hi,
call.
Sky.
Hi.
Sky. This is
Anything about, Juice Plus, intuition, or anything we can help you with. Until then, Sky, is there anything else that you want to add or share?
I just would add that, if you were talking about these children in Ecuador, is that most people here in the United States, not all, but most, have the opportunity, have so much opportunity to be able to live good lives and healthy lives. We have the resources, we have, the freedoms to do this, and I just don't take it for granted, or in a more positive way, make the most of it.
Yeah.
As I say, it's a privilege. It's
Right.
a privilege. So the other thing is, that okay if I put my email and phone number in the chat? That
Absolutely.
might be easier for
Absolutely.
people.
And I wish I knew if people could see it or not. But if anybody
Oh, of
wants to
course.
reply to the chat, I'll
Okay.
know. But yeah, absolutely. For sure.
All right.
Yeah, it really is. It's just, I notice when I eat the plant-based foods, like I instantly feel that vibrancy. And one of my favorite things to do is juicing, or getting fresh juice. It's like that live nutrients. It's like, feels like an instant vitamin. Really connected to Juice Plus. It's just
Yeah.
that nutrition is so powerful.
Well, it is, and actually, the chlorophyll that's in the plants is very close to our own, the composition of it. I'm not a scientist, but obviously I read about these things. Is very close to our own blood composition.
Mhm.
Again, nature has this design for us. We
Mhm.
just, we just need to follow it and take care of it.
Mhm. Yeah, one of my favorite things is I feel like we're all so connected to the earth in the sense that we're born to heal from the earth, right? Like if you think about the native plants, plant medicine and the way to be able to just connect through the earth, right? Even through the oxygen we breathe outside and connecting to the trees and the ocean.
Mhm.
Yeah, and obviously like the plants that grow from the earth, it's like
Right.
one with Gaia.
Right.
I can see your email and your phone number, so hopefully everybody else can. So again, it's Sky for Health at sbcglobal.net, and our phone number is 858-922-0452. So yeah, I just am really a big believer of that, like natural everything.
Well, you can, and you show that. I mean,
Mhm.
that's not something a person can fake. I mean, you have that radiant energy. And years ago, I think I had my epiphany with Juice Plus when being a gardener, okay, and it talk about intuition. I mean, this all came together in this moment when I really understood that these are fruits and vegetables. These are not factory made vitamins. I mean, these are literally fruits and veggies where the water is taken out. And most of fruits and veggies are water, just like most of us are. We are mostly water, and then concentrated into these micronutrients after juicing. Actually, what they do, it's actually more like is to think of a giant Vitamix where you are using the whole fruit, the whole vegetable whenever possible, because there's so much nutrient in the peels and in the seeds. And having gardened and grown my own produce, I said, oh my gosh, I mean, this is literally the sun through the plants
Yeah.
into my body.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that was the day I said, sign me up. I want to do this. And obviously, it's proved the test of time, because it's a long time to be doing what I've
Yeah.
been doing. And I feel as energized and committed today as I have all those years ago. Because it's
Yeah.
nature, because it's like, you're not going to read in the paper next week that fruits and veggies aren't important. You know?
Right.
It's not a fad or even a trend. It's just
Right.
vitally important.
Yeah. How have you noticed the people around you? Like, I'm sure your husband, your friends and family and clients, like how their health is improved. Are there any stories you want to share of the people that you've just watched, their lives transform?
Oh, absolutely. I had two come to mind. I mean, they're both a little more dramatic, but one was a woman, she's actually my age, who, about the time I met her, she was in a bad vehicle accident. I mean, really bad. A
Mhm.
lot of broken bone. I mean, 20 broken bones. I mean, I visited her in the hospital. We had just met actually at a women's networking event. And then I didn't hear from her for a while. And then I get a call. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't call you, but I was in this accident. I said, what? And so I went to see her, and she had taken care of her health to begin with, which is another thing too, is that if the unfortunate things happen, if we go into it being already fit as we can be and nutritionally well nourished, the chances of our recovery are much better. So I brought her some Juice Plus. I just said, I'm just going to give you some of this to get started. And over the years, she's had countless operations, but between her determination to get her life back and her taking care of her health, and she gives huge credit to Juice Plus, she's never had an infection. And that's
Mm.
probably one of the biggest things that happen from surgeries and these issues that, we can have all kinds of complications. She's never had a complication from that. And she has just, it's incredible. She dances, she does dance performances, she does all kinds of things. So I mean, that's a dramatic thing. I have another totally different. I have another client. Her son is special needs, and he's an adult special needs. They can be very, very picky eaters. And it's been over a decade. See, I've had many customers now for 10 and 20 years. And because the Juice Plus also comes in little tasty chewables. So she has little chewables for him. And the same thing, he's very healthy. He lives in a group home. I mean, this is why I do what I do. I mean, and it's not always, dramatic in that sense, but it's like wearing a seatbelt. How do you measure that, you didn't get cancer, that you didn't, that a person is having radiant health at any age? It's just, um, I mean, I could go on and on, but I mean, there are people. I was thinking of a woman that I know who has been a customer again for a decade. She's got wonderful health, and she just got married or remarried after many, many, like I did, after being single for many, many years. And now she's got this wonderful life ahead with her new husband at 52. So, like I was, excuse me.
That's awesome. I love that. I love stories of health and radiance. That's beautiful. And happiness and love and joy. So good. So good. Well, I know we just have a few more minutes left. Bria was wanting to make sure I get off because I tend to run over with everybody. So are there any like other like last words you want to, not last words, but last words for the show that you'd like people to remember or to take with them throughout their daily lives?
Just, it's that, excuse me, I think I'm getting a
Oh,
dry
you're,
throat from talking.
no, I understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, it's just you're worth it. You're worth
Mm,
it. You're
yeah.
worth taking care of your health. And he said, your body and your intuition, I think, are one thing.
Yeah.
They really are one thing. And think about think about horses, and they are creatures they're always paying attention to their intuition for their survival. Otherwise, they could get, you know, not now so much, but they could get eaten up. And in
Yeah.
these days, your intuition is telling you take good care of your health, because you might not have to worry about a mountain lion, but there are an awful lot of things in this world that can take us down. So spend the time, invest the time. And on the other side of that, make it fun. Doesn't have to be some huge chore. Make it fun, and you'll be able to thrive year after year. So those are my final words.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thrive just like Sky. And I just had this really fun idea come to mind. If you guys want to do it, I'm going to do it. Is to take a glass of water. So I'm sure you guys, I don't know for sure, but if you're familiar, goodness, with Dr. Emoto's work about water, about how water holds frequency. So I just thought of doing this for myself, and I'd love to invite you all to do it. Y'all, wow, it sounds like my marketing team in Texas, y'all. Anyway, so if you put an affirmation of I am worth it on your water glass or underneath it, it'll change the frequency of the water. And talking about how much water we need to drink every day, you can start changing the cells in your body now. So let's do it, you guys. I am worth it on our water glasses, water cups. Cheers to water, and I am worth
I'm
it.
worth it.
And more of this, and
That's
more of
awesome.
this. And just may everybody just have like this beautiful, beautiful, blessed life of love, abundance, and prosperity. So, with that, I want to say namaste. Thank you, Sky. Thank you, everyone, for being on the show. And
Thank
we'll see you
you.
next week.
Thank
Lots of love.